Get a quick pun, dude. Oh, dude.
Let's see. It's going.
You good? I got. Ooh. This isn't okay. Wait, this is.
Actually, you can put that in the front too.
Huh?
I like this whole beer set. What kind of beer is that?
That's sour.
It's sour? Oh, I didn't get to finish. So I went to Yard House in Santa Anita. I had a sour, dude. I didn't like it. It was just
Really?
like, nah, dude.
So this is a more traditional sour. Have you had traditional sours before?
I know I'm not.
Okay. You
I'm
might not
super
like
new.
This too.
I'm super new to it.
You might not like this too, but it'd be worth a shot.
I'll definitely try it.
Oh, just so. Is that a twist off or a?
Pop.
Pop. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I'll get it.
You got it? Okay. Thank you. Halfway through. Oh.
Yeah, right.
That's actually recording already, so you can actually start recording on the computer.
This guy. I gotta introduce myself. Hi guys. Welcome to the after.
I'm gonna turn this down. Interrupt this.
Oh, it's fine. I've had that. There you go.
The only thing I'll have to stop for is if my daughter texts, I'll have to.
Oh, that's totally fine.
No, dude, you're good, dude. Don't even trip. Like, yeah. I can't even text my phone.
Yeah, right.
Alright. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Swole Nation Bros. Today we're Swole Nation beers because we're gonna try some new beers today. I know if you guys, this is a more of a, you're gonna want to go on YouTube and watch this one because we're gonna be drinking some fucking amazing beer with my good friend, Mr. Mike.
How's it going?
Dude,
Introduce yourself, man.
Introduce yourself, man. Introduce yourself.
All right, so I'm Mike Hale. I am the brewer and soon-to-be official owner of Desert Barn Brewery. It's in the works, but I am brewing all the beers there now. So come on down and try us.
Yeah. Fucking amazing.
How long have you been going there for now?
How long have we been going? Probably
Just earlier this year?
the beginning of the year, man. Beginning of
I want to say earlier this year. That's when we
Okay.
started coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And then we would just stick to the simple stuff, Mojave Mud, and then the Black Bomber. Dude, that was it.
Simple stuff. The simple stuff.
Yeah.
So what do we got today? What we got the
So I brought a growler from Desert Barn. This is our one of our newer beers called Brucifer. So what Brucifer is a tart ale, but this particular version I used a lot of mango and pineapple, a little bit of lactose and some vanilla in.
So what's the purpose of the lactose again?
So the lactose just kind of balances out the sweetness or the sourness,
Right.
and just kind of gives it a nice smooth body and finish. Same thing with the vanilla. Vanilla can kind of sometimes give it a little bit of sweetness to the flavor. I didn't really put too much vanilla in it; that you can't really taste a whole lot of it. It's straight mango pineapple, man.
Yeah, dude. That's why it's so different compared to I don't know if anybody's ever had a sour or as far as the onions.
yeah.
But a sour, in my opinion, dude, is just way too tarty, and then there's only been 1 or 2 out of 10 or 15 that I've tried that I'm I'm not feeling it. But with this one, dude, I could drink this all day.
So this is a little different it is a sour
Right.
beer, okay? So but the process to make this sour beer is different. It's called a kettle sour.
Okay.
So it is a different process than something like, say, this one right here. This is an Almanac beer from up in San Francisco, I believe. Theirs is a traditional sour, and it's aged in oak barrels or wine barrels. And they use a couple of different bacteria to actually get that sour.
Okay.
Whereas a kettle sour is quick. I can get it soured to where I want it in 24 to 48 hours. And then I go through a traditional brew process after that, put it in the fermenter, I can do anything I want.
Okay. I love the whole process. So I'm like,
Yeah, when you walked this through the back, because he actually the first time we met, right?
Yeah.
You walked this right through the back.
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so dope. How often do you get people who are super excited to talk about beer?
Yeah.
I get a lot actually. It's that's the best part of my day,
Yeah.
dude. Is when somebody's super happy to sit here and talk beer. I'll talk beer all day, man. I love
dude.
beer. I love brewing beer. I love drinking good beer. It's just I
definitely.
love it.
That's why I was like, oh my god, dude.
A lot of people I find are they're afraid to ask to see the brew house. They think it's this mystical, amazing.
I feel
place.
it's just
That's how I was. Right?
Yeah.
I was I want to ask him, but I don't know.
don't mess with the wizard, dude.
He's the Grand Master, dude.
No,
He
hey,
is the-
if anybody does come down and mention you heard us on the podcast, that would be great.
Cool.
But ask if you want to see the brew house, man. If I'm there, I'll definitely take you back. I got no problem. I love it.
Yo, dude, oh my god, you guys definitely gotta check out Desert Barn Brewery, dude. One of the most underrated bars, or it's called brew houses up here.
way underrated, dude.
Yeah.
And their restaurant, because there's a restaurant in it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dude, the food is
Fire,
delicious.
dude.
Yeah.
The chef, You know,
Mad props to him.
mad props to him. That burger kind of burger.
No, carne asada.
Oh, you guys had the carne asada burger? Yeah.
Yes. The chef told us. He's like,
dude,
dude, you guys gotta try it. I was like, let's do it. Like, what's
Was it give my compliments to the chef, yo.
compliments?
Oh, yeah.
But you guys' food is really delicious. Really,
Awesome,
really
man.
good.
Thank you
It's always
so
good
much.
to have, like, you know, when you're drinking, you always get hungry, and then actually having really good food rather than like drunk food.
Right?
It's really good. Dude.
Right?
Really
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, it helps with the hangover the next day too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude. So like, what kind of got you into like the brewing process? Like, you know, what kind of got your eye to this? Like, I think it's so cool
What
about
made you
you.
say like, let's do this?
Yeah.
Dude, it's kind of random actually, dude. I had a buddy that he knew another guy that he worked at a brewery down the hill, actually a bootlegger's brewery down the hill, and he was a good friend. And he came up, he was getting rid of some of his homebrew stuff, and he just called me up and he's all, "Dude, you want to come over and learn how to brew?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
Would you have ever thought like this is gonna be one of my passions?
No, never.
That's
I
awesome,
did not,
dude.
dude.
That's
I did not. You know, we got there and like I didn't remember a whole lot through the night, but I'm like, you know what? That's pretty fun. And we ended up with a set of equipment. So me and a buddy just started, you know, planning brews and brewing stuff. And of course, our first brew, we're like, "Oh, this is awesome! It's so great!" And then like a couple brews later, you realize how awesome it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know?
You were like, that was crap, dude.
That was terrible, but we drank it all. And it was great because it was ours.
It's a process though, man. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So you were
Oh,
like,
yeah. Especially at the
Yeah.
beginning too, because like they're throwing out all these words. I mean, there's a lot of German terminology, Vorlauf, and all this other stuff, and you're like, we did what?
Yeah.
What? I don't even understand, but we just did something. You know, so I don't know. After that, I started doing. I got my own system because I really enjoyed it, and I'm like, you know what? I think I could do this pretty good. And it was like a couple batches in, I'm like, man, I really want a brewery. Like, this is cool. I really enjoy this stuff. And, you know, I think everybody, you know, when they're homebrewing, they have this whole thought of, I want a brewery someday.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the dream for
he's like,
everybody.
I'm gonna take over the brewing
Right?
industry.
Exactly.
This is the world is mine.
That was probably 8 years ago, and now I'm finally kind of making it a reality.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing, dude. Like I was telling him, I was like, I think it's so cool. Like you can see the excitement and the joy to your face whenever you start talking about. Like you genuinely care about like what you're
You
doing.
can, you love it.
I do.
I think that's what was really helping you make this beer. Because some people are like, I just throw this, throw that in there, make the alcohol content higher or something like that. Something very like basic, just to please the crowd. And you can tell off the bat, like, you know, there's not like much effort being put into the beer.
Right.
But you definitely see it in your guys' beer. Like it's you see it's so like. What I like about you guys is that you guys have so much flavor in your beer. And I was telling this before. There's so much flavor in it, and like when you guys say there's an actual fruit in it, there's an actual fruit like tangerine or the pineapple mango.
Which one did we have? The blueberry one?
The barnberry wheat. It was
is that
blueberry. Yeah,
Is that
I gotta try that.
Yeah, actually, it's tasting really good.
Is it?
I'm pretty happy with it, dude.
Dude, I bet.
And we tasted it before it had the
carbonation.
The carbonation.
Yeah, you just got it straight out of the tank.
Right.
Yeah, straight out of the tank. So I bet it's
better.
even better.
I
now,
love
dude.
tasting the progress as the beers go. It's just interesting to see like what it tastes like at different stages, and then you taste the final product. And I don't know. I've been doing it so long. I can kind of expect certain things. You know, when I'm tasting a beer in the middle of fermentation, I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually going really good. But you know, most people, if you haven't had that experience, you're just like, this is kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about, because I think with the Brucifer, when I think you guys had a new keg, or it was probably 3/4, like, you know, like already gone through, or a quarter gone through, and when you were pouring it, you said it was coming out thick, and then you liked it when it comes out thick, and then I think right when they poured the next one, it just came out like thinner. You didn't have like that pulp inside of the beer. So are you talking about like that type of process, or like, or as it degrades, or are you talking about as in the fermentation?
As
process?
in the fermentation,
Okay.
Yeah, well, that is, so this is the first batch of this beer that I've done on a big scale. I've been brewing Brucifer, actually used to call it Jucifer, but New Belgium stole that name before I became a
I was
professional.
gonna say, I was gonna say it sounded familiar here, yeah.
New Belgium, watch it. So we decided to call it Brucifer, and but I've been brewing it for a while, and like, I don't know if you've had any of these other type of beers that are similar style. A lot of people leave a lot of fruit in there, and I don't typically do that on my homebrew batches. But this batch, because I had access to a commercial puree, which I didn't usually have, you know, like really, I decided to leave more of it in. I think the next time I will drop more of it out, just because I think more people enjoy it when it's clean. You can see the carbonation a little bit better in the glass. It just presents a little bit better. But I like it anyway. And it doesn't matter.
Well, because I started off with the thin, and then I had the pulp, and then so when I drank the thin, and then the next day, or like 2 days later, came back to have a Brucifer again. I remember you started me off with the pulp. I had the pulp. I wasn't a fan of it, but then when I got the flat off the next pour, I was like, you know what? I actually like the pulp better than the flat, which is kind of weird. It kind of fluctuates, you know?
Right.
You know?
It's a texture thing almost
Yeah,
too. Like
kind of.
you're drinking it and it's like it's a beer, you know, but it doesn't feel like a beer in your mouth.
Yeah,
It's almost like a Kern's Nectar.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like it's kind of crazy.
So I mean, I have a couple questions for you as far as like people who are starting home. I kind of can you start off like talking about your brew system that you started from the beginning and then how you
Just the
modified
process
it?
of like how you started growing.
Yeah. So
how
like.
you upgraded gradually. Like,
Oh,
all right, I
yeah.
need this because I need to improve like my carbonation because like.
Oh man, dude, it's a money pit.
Yeah, because
Like if you, dude, it's a money pit like crazy.
Really?
Because you're like, you know, it's like that whole like if you give a mouse a cookie, right?
Yeah.
Like you get one thing, and like I started out with, and this is the way most people start out, is they start out with you know a kettle of some sort to boil water in,
Okay.
and then you have to have a mash tun, and that's when you hold your grain in, you pour all the water over that and sit it there and everything. Normally when you start out, that's with a like an igloo cooler.
Okay.
Like a 10-gallon igloo cooler, and then you know that'll make a decent 5-gallon batch. But if you were gonna try to make something like 10%, 11%, you want to make a big beer, you might not be able to do it in that. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna upgrade. So then you upgrade to either a bigger cooler, that's the route that I took. So I went to a big 72-quart Coleman Extreme cooler, and like you make. There's all kind. I like making things too, like just fiddling with stuff. Like I was able to make you know sparge arms and like manifolds and all this other stuff,
awesome.
and like
So
you can
great
always
that I
tweak
understand
it as
what
much
you're
as you
saying.
want. You know? Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
it gets deep. And now this is the cheap part. When you really start getting serious about it, and you're like, oh, I need more stainless steel, because like your fermenters when you start are either going to be glass or plastic. They work great, dude. I still have them at home. I use them all the time. They do work really good. But now that I've stepped up to a commercial system and I see the benefits of certain things, I wish I would have actually spent more money on my homebrew system from the beginning on certain things.
Okay.
Certain things you can get away with not spending a lot of money on, but like I would have probably upgraded my fermenters right away. I would have done a couple of things just different, and I think it would have helped the process a little bit better.
What would you do different to like help the process? Well, what's your goal when you're making the homebrew system? Just to extract the most flavors you can using like the equipment you got.
It kind of depends on the beer you're making.
Okay.
I mean, the goal of every beer is to extract as much sugar as possible from the grain, you know, and that's why when you put the water on the grain and you're brewing the beer, it's got to be at a certain temperature, and that has to do with enzymes work at this certain specific temperature range, and will convert the starches that are in the grains into sugar that your yeast will now eat.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's got it down to a
No,
science,
because I was
man.
talking to
Oh
my
God.
coworker. My coworker
Yeah.
has his own brewing system, and then he was talking about how he uses malt. That's his grain. And then he was talking about how the grain produces the sugar, and I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
So I forgot what system he told me he was using, but I think when he ferments it, he's using a bucket.
And a lot of people start with a bucket, man. I mean, it works. It does a good job, and as you progress and get better at your brewing, you'll start noticing certain things are not working. Like I didn't like buckets because it lets a lot of oxygen in.
He was saying that when he made a recent batch on his amber ale that I don't know if it might have been broken because of a broken seal or who knows what, but it came out very flat. What can you like recommend to say he would have to improve on that?
It just depends on where it kind of messed up. I mean, it depends on how he was carbonating. A lot of people will do like bottle conditioning to carb, and that has to do with adding like a specific amount of yeast back in. If there's not enough yeast left in suspension, you got to add a little bit of yeast back in and a little bit of sugar, and that yeast will eat the sugar in the bottle and create your carbonation.
Okay.
Because yeast when they eat sugar, they'll produce pretty much two different things. They're going to produce alcohol and they're going to produce CO2.
So the yeast is producing alcohol? I didn't know that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Alcohol is yeast poop.
Really?
Yep. Yeast poop.
Yeast poop.
I did not even know that.
You know, I always imagine at some point you just pour a little alcohol. I don't know, dude.
No, I didn't think that. I thought it was just because
I mean, I don't know.
fermentation of like bacteria or just gathering up so much that it eventually just convert into alcohol. That was my thing.
Oh, something like
Nope, nope. Your yeast is what produces your
that? Like the
alcohol.
prison batch?
Yep.
Like,
No,
And
something
different
like that.
yeast
Yeah.
will give you different either levels of alcohol in the beer.
Mhm.
It has to do with your sugar levels too, but certain yeasts will eat different sugars more or less, and it'll give you either a fuller body beer, a sweeter beer, a drier beer. You can do it. I love
Are
yeast.
there are they varying like different types of yeast, like a various amount? Oh,
There-
a ton of different yeast.
ton of yeasts.
Oh, okay. And what
ton
about
of yeast.
sugars? Does the sugar matter, or is it all like
Sugars do matter. That's why we get most of our sugars from malt.
Yeah.
Um,
Do some sugars
create a different.
Oh, sorry, the sugars come from the grain.
the
Correct?
sugars come from the grain,
You
but
guys don't add sugar to it?
certain beers you will add certain sugars to.
Okay.
Like most of my IPAs, I use a measured amount of corn sugar.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason we use corn sugar is because it ferments out almost completely. It doesn't produce any odd byproducts when it ferments, and it just gives you a nice, clean, dry finish.
Okay.
I have used I use milk sugar a lot too. It's lactose,
Okay.
and lactose, like that, it leaves a little bit of sweetness left to it. It's not fully fermentable, but you can use brown sugar. I've used that in certain beers. There's candy sugar. There's all kinds of different sugars you can use.
Do certain sugars break down the grain better?
The sugars don't break down the grain.
Oh,
It's the water that breaks down the grain. Usually when you're adding
Okay.
sugar, it's going to be after the grain is already out of the picture.
Okay.
So we mash and put the water on the grain and pull all of that, what we call wort. So the sugar water basically that we're getting from all those grains, we're pulling off that, putting it into the boil kettle, and then typically the sugar, if we're going to add any sugar to it, it'll go either in the boil kettle or it'll go in the fermenter at whatever stage, depending on the desired result. So when you add the sugar, can also give you a different result in the finished beer.
Oh, okay.
So if you add it right up front, depending on the type of sugar, it's gonna just add more alcohol typically.
Right. That's another question of mine. How can these beers, like you were talking about the brewery in Anaheim, like how do these guys manage to get a 20% beer? Was it stout, right?
Black Tuesday.
It was a.
Yep.
Black
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah.
Okay. How do they
Amazing
manage
stout,
to
yeah.
get
I was
so
telling
much
everyone
alcohol?
about that. by
Yeah,
the
me
way.
too.
Dude,
I was like, hey, did you
I
know there's a
swear.
legend? I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you guys one. I got a lot of them at home, dude. I used
Oh,
to be
do you?
I got
Wow.
a ton at home. Yeah. No, I'm a big brewery fan. Like
Yeah.
I was part of their club for a while, and
Okay.
I've got probably a 250 bottle cellar at the house.
Wow.
A
Really?
good majority of
Oh,
them are
man.
brewery stuff. I've got
Dude,
a
that's so
full
dope.
set of.
I swear, that's
Black
like one of my
Tuesdays,
goals, dude. Just have like a fridge and like just in the garage, and then just stack it with craft beer. Stack it with craft beer.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Oh my god, I would love to do that. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, and just leave it in there, dude. I swear.
I wouldn't leave the house.
Dude, the hardest part is getting that started, because you buy beer and you're like, I want to drink it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, like that first beer you buy, and you're like, I'm gonna set this here for a year and
Yeah.
see what happens. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's terrible, but
Yeah.
Checks on it at night. He's like, no, it's still there. It's
yeah,
still there.
it's good.
It's good. It's good. It's good. I'm okay. I don't need it. I don't need it.
It's like every day you come check in on the refrigerator, it's like, yeah, it's still there, it's okay.
Yep.
I'll come back to it tomorrow. Yep, still there. So how can you extract so much from the grains how can the yeast extract so much alcohol to make it increase to like crazy amounts, like 10, 11, 12?
It all has to do with your sugar levels.
Really?
Your
There's like
sugar-
an actual ratio to it and everything?
Well, it's all calculated. I've got brewing software and there's brewing calculators. What we do is they're called gravity points, and we have specific instrumentation that'll help us measure this stuff. Well, gravity is just the amount of sugar that's in a beer. So the higher the gravity of the beer and the further it ferments, the more alcohol you're going to have in it.
Okay.
So
Does that make the process longer? Because I remember you saying it should take 2 to 3 weeks to do.
Typically not. No, I mean the only time it's going to take longer is if you're having a problem with fermentation, or certain beers just taste better if you let them sit a little bit longer.
Okay.
Like my darker beers, I like to let them sit for 3 weeks, maybe even
Wait, you're
4
saying your
weeks.
stouts?
Is it the longest that you'll brew a beer? Like a certain?
Oh no, I mean, dude, like barrel aged beers. I mean, like if we want to talk about barrel aged beers, I mean, barrel aged beers will sit there for a year plus in the barrel.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. Have you ever made a whiskey infused beer?
I have. Yeah,
What do you think about those? What do you think about those?
I
Love them?
love them. Yeah.
I like some of them. Some of them have been hit or misses. Like lately,
You don't have any, do you?
Not.
No, I mean like a Desert Barn.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
I just brewed a stout. It's in the tanks now, fermenting like crazy right now. It should end up being about 11%, and if I can, I want to get a whiskey barrel I want to fill that, so at least we can start our barrel program. You know,
Okay.
it's got to start somewhere. So even if I just get one barrel, put it in there, and go, you know, in a year we'll have some awesome beer to share.
Oh, nice, dude. That barrel, is it just soaked in whiskey, or you guys actually add whiskey into the barrel?
We don't add anything. Like as a commercial brewery, you're not allowed to add distilled spirits to your beer.
Okay.
But we age it in barrels that previously held
Whiskey.
whatever liquor.
Okay,
It
that's
doesn't
what I
even have to be
assumed.
whiskey, bourbon. I've had tequila barrel aged stuff, brandy
Really?
barrel. A lot of sours are aged in wine barrels.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, rum. Wow, rum's great.
Speaking of which, I just sorry, I have like so many questions, but off track. When I went to the beer cave, have you ever heard of a sour IPA?
Oh yeah.
I should have grabbed that. I've never heard of a sour
Oh,
IPA.
sour IPAs are great. So you had the Baron Brucifer.
Right.
Okay, so I wouldn't call that a sour IPA because I didn't put enough hops into it. It was just kind of a thought. But the next version of Baron Brucifer will be a sour IPA.
Okay.
I'm just
nice.
gonna do enough hops and just do it.
Oh, dude, nice. Dude.
They're really good,
I have a
especially if
question.
you get one that's fruited.
What?
Fruited sour IPA.
Dude, I would love to try it.
Dude.
I saw it and I was gonna grab it. I was like, I'm afraid I'm not gonna like it. And I was just like, you know what? I'll just try that.
They're
another day.
tasty.
Are they?
As long as they're done right, they're tasty.
Okay.
I don't like them if they're too bitter.
Mm.
So you got to get more of that like East Coast kind of New England style hopping pattern to it.
I don't know if you ever heard of this app. There's this app where it gets you from beer like all over the
Tavour?
country. Is it which one?
Tavour?
Yes, that
Yeah.
one.
Oh
Dude.
yeah.
Ah,
Tavor's awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude. I just
like shipped?
Yeah.
yeah, it's like East Coast Bay Area.
You can ship beer?
Yeah.
I this whole time I thought it was just like you got to go to like the certain stores and get it. I'm
They
learning.
can ship
I'm learning.
beer
Just to
because
clarify.
of the licenses and how they do it.
Ah.
Now, I'll preface this by saying people do it every day, all day. Like, people trade beers all the time, all across the country, but it is illegal to ship beer.
Why is that?
When it crosses state lines, it's a federal issue.
Really that big?
Yeah,
That's intense.
yeah. But a lot of people do it. A lot.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
a
pretty
dope
sure.
one.
I'm
That's
pretty
fine.
sure it's not like this is not what's it called like back in like the 1920s. This is,
Yeah, right. Prohibition.
Prohibition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I mean, I rarely hear that, but like, that's fun fact.
Because I got a question. What's the first beer that we're gonna try tonight?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, actually, you're gonna try
Yeah, the monster, right?
3
Oh no,
days.
the
No, so 2 wild barrels.
Two wild
They're
barrels.
both IPAs, and then this one right here, Strike Brewing Company, and it's called Cosmic Debris. It's
Yeah.
a hazy IPA with Zappa Hope hops.
Hops.
Sorry, so I said Hope. I have bad vision.
He's all
So can you explain to us earlier what Zappa hops is?
So the hops, like you have a ton of different types of hops. Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know a whole bunch.
There's a ton, and they're coming out with new styles all the time.
Okay.
Actually, hops are a cousin to marijuana, and they'll breed them.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know hops was a cousin of marijuana.
Yep. Yep. And they will breed them to get different flavors. So there's literally hops that I could order that don't even have a name yet. It's like HBC 362.
like that.
What the hell?
Wow.
This is
Yeah.
like sounds like SARMs or something like that.
Yeah,
You
like
know what
SARMs.
it is?
It's
Yeah.
crazy. And you know what? I can get hops from Yakima, and it could be, let's say, Cascade hops from Yakima.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting Cascade hops from California, and it's kind of like, it's called the terroir. When they're grown in different places, they'll taste differently.
Okay, yeah, I definitely believe like in the soils and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all like a science too. Can you name your own hops? Like, can you?
If
like-
if you breed it, you can.
Oh, okay. If you breed it, I was
Yeah.
gonna say this sounds like a branding company. Like, if you were just to make something like I don't know, like just catchy. Like, what's catchy right now? Like, if you could just name something like I don't even know, dude. Like
He's
Nike hops.
He's in the name of the DBB.
You can say DBB hops, like, you know.
The DBB hops.
Yeah.
There you go, bro.
Yeah,
That'd be
you
awesome.
say something like that. Like, that'd be cool. It's like crazy marketing right here, dude.
I would love to have my own brand of hops. That'd be cool.
It's coming soon, man. We're
Hey,
calling it right now.
right?
It's coming soon. Next couple of years.
Yeah, dude. Let's
Oh,
get
my
that forward though. All right, dude. You can try
Do it.
these. So first one, what do you want to try? And I kind of want to see, for your perspective, like how do you? I want you to like dissect this. Like, all right, cool. Like has this taste. You know, all right. You know, maybe it should ease down on this. Like your opinions on like what's going on. Like with
Your
this beer.
personal opinions.
Yeah, like, how would you
Go
evaluate
with
a
that.
beer? Because I know everybody has their own certain ways.
Yes.
So the first one's gonna be.
And don't worry, on this podcast, no one gets offended.
Okay,
Like,
sweet.
like
Yeah.
whoever listens, they don't get offended. I'm like, if you're gonna get offended, don't listen.
That's
Pretty
a
much.
good. That's a good plan right there.
Just letting you know, because
So the first one's gonna be Cosmic Debris.
Cosmic
Second one is Juice Monster from Wild Barrel. It's my favorite one, dude.
That's a good beer.
Favorite one. Woo. Third one.
It's beautiful.
From Wild Barrel also, it's gonna be called Hop Gnosis. And it's actually funny because I saw my buddy who he posted one of these on Instagram, and I was just like, dude, where are you getting all these beers from? And then he mentioned to me the Beer Cave in Valero on Bear Valley and Armagosa.
Oh man,
Dude.
if you guys are local to the high desert and listen to this and you're not going to the Beer Cave, you're missing out.
Very, very interesting craft beers that are there.
The Beer Cave is in the gas station?
Yeah, it's in the
gas
Valero
station,
on the
yeah.
corner of Bear Valley and Armagosa, right across from the mall.
Okay, yeah.
Yo, if you're gonna be drinking beer, I kind of want to drink beer too. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, I'm obsessed with this Brucifer beer, dude. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna say I'm not the only one that's gonna be drinking.
Oh, no,
beer,
no,
right?
no.
I'm like, dude, that's a lot of pressure, guys.
It's alright, man. Then you gotta kill all these three.
I know, right?
You're just like, oh, hey, I need a ride.
Yeah, right. Let's call it Uber.
I'll try the Cosmic because that one looks fucking amazing to me.
I'm actually very curious to try that Cosmic one too.
I am too.
You've never had one?
I've never had Zappa hops yet. Yeah, very danky.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see that kind.
There you go, sir.
Oh, that's clean.
That is.
That's clean.
I think I'm getting in contact high.
So what are you thinking on it? Like how you tasting the beer?
So like first I always start by smelling it, especially on a hazy IPA, man. Like hazy IPAs are just, they should be super aromatic and super flavorful, you know, and very little bitter, which I really like. You know, I enjoy a good West Coast IPA, you know, nice firm bitterness, but man, I love a good hazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can drink a hazy all day.
So quick question: can you explain what the IBU is?
International bittering units.
Bittering units.
And you know what? They're not a very accurate way of measuring.
Okay,
beer
I saw
bitterness
that, and
anymore.
I was just like, it's kind of weird because like a Sculpin, I think is like
So it's like hit and miss? It's a hit and miss with the IBU?
It's not a hit or miss. It's the problem is, one, if the brewer doesn't get their beer tested by a lab and they're just going off of what their brewing software predicts, 9 times out of 10 that brewing software is going to be completely off. Sometimes by a considerable amount. It just depends on where you're putting those hops in. It doesn't do a very good job on hazy IPAs because hazy IPAs, you're putting almost all the hops go in after you turn off the flame on the boil. Usually boil for 60 minutes. And on like a West Coast IPA where you're getting a lot of bitterness out of those, you're going to actually add hops at 60 minutes and then sometimes at 45, 30, 15. You can add them at any point. Actually, Dogfish Head.
I love that beer.
Okay, 60 minutes?
60 minute, 90 minute.
Do you know why they call it that?
I do not.
They
because that's when they put in the hops.
But they're literally adding, on that particular beer, they're adding hops every minute.
Every minute.
Every minute.
Just constantly.
Oh,
Every minute.
That's
Now it's a
interesting.
measured amount, you know.
Oh,
it's,
right,
it's targeted. But yeah, every single minute they're adding
What
that.
if this is just like agitating you or just kind of like, I don't know, can I keep the consistency going?
Well, it's if you add it at the beginning of the boil, so like you're just starting your 60-minute boil, you're going to get a lot of bittering out of that hop. You're not going to get a ton of flavor.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good, huh?
Dude, that was,
Oh, you're drinking the Brucifer.
Yeah.
Oh,
This was
okay.
good
I'm like,
too.
this is really good.
I was saying, it's just so like tangy and tarty, dude. I love it. It's amazing.
I do like that beer a lot.
Do I
I'm
do?
very happy.
Is this you created this?
Yeah.
Cheers to this, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Yes.
Cheers.
See, now, this like, for a hazy, this is really almost kind of clear. It's good, it's crisp, but when you look at something more like that,
A little bit
that's more of like what a hazy, I think, should look like.
Okay.
Not that this isn't a fantastic beer, actually, they did a really good job. It's just my preference
Okay.
is for a thicker hazy.
How would you rate your beers?
You mean as far as like,
Yeah, how do you rate beers? As a 1 out of 10.
oh man,
What would you give a rating to this?
what would I rate this one?
Yeah.
Well,
And what are you What are you kind of calculating? Like you're I'm seeing that you're smelling. What are you tasting? Like how are you evaluating the beer right now?
So like as it warms up, you're gonna get a little bit different flavors out of it.
Yeah.
So like on IPAs, I like to try them cold because that's you should be drinking IPAs cold and fresh. Like if you're drinking old IPAs, don't. You're wasting your money. Especially hazy IPAs, man. Hazy IPAs go bad so fast. Like they need to be drank, in my mind, within 45 days.
Okay. And is there a shelf life for like, any beer?
Yeah.
It depends on the beer.
It does depend on the beer. A shelf life, I mean, like beer's not going to go bad. It's not going to spoil.
Right.
Unless it was infected and not done properly. But a properly done beer is not going to spoil. But like an IPA that's a year old, you're going to lose all the hop aromatics. You're going to lose a lot of flavor out of there. And it's just going to be kind of a bland, boring beer. It might not be terrible, but it's not going to be amazing. It's not going to be what the brewer intended it to be.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of the freshness.
Yeah, right. As far as rating the beers, let's see. For me, it's all about flavor and aroma. I mean, I like smelling the beers. Aroma is secondary. It's really about flavor. Do I want to keep drinking this beer? Would I buy this beer again?
Okay, yep. There you go.
You know? And on both of these, I would say yes on this one. I would say if I'm being a little critical, it's probably a little light on the hop character for me.
Okay.
I would prefer a little bit more. But it's not bad hop character. It's not too little.
No, it wasn't overwhelming. Yeah,
No.
I think it was just right. I could definitely like kind of like drink.
This is an
these.
easy drinking beer,
Yep.
man. This go down super quick, super smooth. You know, you could probably down a few of these.
Okay. What do you think about that beer? Because you're not really a big IPA person. I know you drink them, but like I'm pretty sure your go-to is like yes, drink IPA. I don't think so.
Wait. Put me on the spot like that, man.
Right. Well, I just want
this
to know
guy.
your perspective.
No, I'm just listening because I'm learning. I'm like, okay. Okay, I'm like, okay. I think I'm just high from the freaking beer, dude. What do I think? For like the first time me trying the type of beer
but
like this,
on like your actual opinion of it, like what do you think? Like because like I said, you're not used to drinking this every single time.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your opinion.
Your opinion. Like, what do you feel like you know?
I like it. Is that the right answer?
Sure.
I'm just fucking with
I
you
don't
guys.
know.
No. I mean, for someone that doesn't try to like drink this type of beer all the time, I know what you mean by the aroma.
Yeah.
I love the aroma. I love the
yeah.
smell of it. And like it's beautiful. The taste, it's different. You can. I agree with you too. You can drink a couple of these, and you can just chill, kick back.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be able to drink, like a 12% beer and just you'll have one and that's it.
Oh yeah.
With this one, I mean no.
I mean, should you know?
Should
but,
you
like,
know?
Could you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this one it's a kickback beer. That's what I would call it.
I agree.
You know, like
Yeah.
this is you would take this to a party to kind of show off, like it's a Cosmic Derby. So I don't want to.
Because like I've seen like people who drink people who don't drink IPAs and like around me, they taste it like, dude, this is fucking horrendous. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking about. Shut your mouth, you know. And it's just like, but I don't blame them because it is something very difficult. I think I was like peer pressured into drinking this. I was working at my other job when I got my first job, and like my coworkers only drink IPAs. You know, you want a beer? And I was like, sure. And then I think it wasn't an IPA. It was like it was a Torpedo Sierra Nevada.
Oh.
And I had that, and I was
Not
like,
my favorite beer.
yeah, it's very, very, very hoppy, very bitter.
Yeah.
But I had that, dude, and I was like, dude, like, what is this? You know, I yak, and I was like, dude, I'm so used to like Bud Light or stuff like that. Cause back then I was just drinking like watered down beer. And I don't even touch that type of stuff. Now I just like craft beer. But I was like, dang, you know, it took you a while to kind of train your tongue to just settle down that bitterness and like
Enjoy it.
Oh,
Yeah. I went like a couple weeks ago. I drank.
I think you're starting to talk. You drink more IPAs than you be with me, because I mean.
Oh yeah, I never drank IPAs until I met this dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I got so stuck on like back then. I was so stuck on if the alcohol content is high, I want it. You know, I was just like, I just want the alcohol content. And then after I started acquiring all that, I was like, damn, these are pretty strong. Now I can start tasting beers that are 8%, 9%. That tastes normal to me. And then I don't really always go for the alcohol content. Now I kind of see like, all right, what am I feeling? That's why I go up based off the
flavor.
IBUs. Yeah, the flavor.
Yeah.
So I'm actually basing the IBUs too, because sometimes I like my IBUs from like 70 to 100, but me noticing what you just said, like it's not very consistent. Like some are like, I'm like, how is it to go extremely bitter, and this beer's kind of like around the same like IBU, and I'm like, let's say 70, like 75, and I'm like, these are two different types of beers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I really hate I hate the IBUs. We got to have some way to measure it, right? I mean, we got to have some kind of scale. So IBUs work, but it's just, like you said, you can have two beers that are 75 IBUs sitting right next to each other, and they could taste completely different. Yeah. Especially if you want to talk about like a 75 IBU hazy IPA versus a 75 IBU West Coast IPA. That West Coast IPA is going to be that sharp, bitter, dry.
It's like a green flash right now.
You know, right? Yeah, or Stone IPA. You know, I mean, just bitter.
That's
whereas
the first beer I've had, man.
A hazy IPA, 75 IBUs, you're gonna like. I would be surprised if this wasn't close to that. Oh, this one says 25.
Yeah, 25.
Which I can believe that. It's
It's
not very bitter.
Yeah, it's not very bitter.
No, my first IPA. Well, I mean, my first time beer like this was a Stone IPA.
Stone IPA. Yeah.
That's what put me off.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, this is too strong out for no reason.
I think back in the day, it was just like, oh, dude, this is Stone IPA, it's 8%, it's arrogant bastard, and I was just like, I'll try it, and I was like, dude, this is death. Like,
that's exactly what I was told. I was like, dude, try it.
Yeah.
I got peer pressured it, and I had like 3 sips, and I was like, oh, dude, you know what? I gotta go.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. You mentioned like, going for like the high alcohol and stuff like that. And that's a very typical like path into craft beer, like.
Oh, I was just young and obnoxious, I was like, I just want to get a high alcohol like beer, and I can drink it.
But a lot of people
buy
do.
like 3-4 locos, and then
right.
Hell no. But that was just me like back then. But now I'm like, I really enjoy craft beer for what it is and like how they make it, how it tastes and the flavor. I think it's more fun like that, and then you can have more variety. But
it's kind of like homebrewing, man. Like everybody that starts out homebrewing, and I'm the same way. This was it. If I'm gonna brew a beer, I'm gonna make it 10%. Let's do this. And then so almost everybody gets through that phase at first, and then it kind of tapers down, and you find where you like your niche. And now, honestly, I prefer lower alcohol beers because they're flavorful still, but I can have more of them.
What's funny you say that?
Yeah.
Because I had a beer with like 4%, 5%, and I always thought it's not gonna, and it was a craft beer.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, it's not gonna give me a buzz. And I was actually surprised. It actually did give me a buzz, and I was like, it's interesting. I had to fit me and all that. And I was like, maybe I should just give these a shot. I mean, these will get the job like real done, but I did not think a 4% beer would give me like a little buzz going, or getting a little loose. But it's interesting too.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm formulating right now. I want to do a session IPA at the barn. So like I don't know, 4.5%, 5% somewhere in there, but like super flavorful.
Yeah.
IPA. Through and through. It'll be a West Coast because we're getting ready to do a hazy collaboration with Rightwood Brewing actually.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing one of those.
Is that where you got the blue? Or sorry, the
blue cut.
The blue cut.
Yeah. Actually, that's their beer.
Yeah.
We contract brewed that for them. And then we just did a keg swap. So they took some of our Hoppy Highway up there. Oh, cool. We took some of their Blue Cut down here. Everybody's happy, man.
I'm surprised Off the Grid didn't have. I don't think I saw Desert Barn beer from Off the Grid.
We don't do any.
Oh, you guys don't do beer with them? Oh, okay.
No. So I would. I'd be down.
Yeah. Okay.
There's lots of good craft beer in the desert, man. I mean,
dude, there's a lot up here, dude. Definitely. I mean, you guys are killing it like incredibly. So after making all these beers and crafting all your beer, do you ever go back to like
drawing board?
Yeah, no. Do you ever go back to like other beer like Modelo and Coors Light?
No way.
I don't either.
Yeah, honestly, dude, I've never been a Coors Light, Bud Light. I've never enjoyed those beers. Like, yeah, I mean, even when I was young, like in high school, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's get drunk." I'm like, I don't want to do it. Where's that Strawberry Hill? Come on, Zima. I don't know.
So you've always been on it. You're like, okay,
right?
That's cool. Because I went back to a Coors Light like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, I was like, this isn't.
Water, dude.
It's not the same.
I still have friends that drink that stuff, and every once in a while, I'm like, all right, I haven't tried one in a while. Let me just. I know I'm not gonna want a whole one. Just let me try yours real quick.
Yeah.
Yep, still sucks.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was. I'm like, you want this? I was like, you're good, dude.
I'll drink it, if it's at a party or occasion, I'm like, oh, you got IPA? No. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I won't do that. But like, if it's like
I'm that guy, dude.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I'm that guy. I'm a total craft beer snob, dude. Unabashedly snobbish when it comes
He's like, everyone in the car, we're going home.
All right, guys, pack it up. We're done. Let's go.
You have no IPAs? All right, I'm out. All right, later. See you. All right, I'm out.
I can do any kind of craft beer, but if it's between Bud, Miller, Coors, or water, I'm gonna take water.
Okay, fair enough.
Or an iced tea.
Iced tea.
I mean,
Alright.
I just won't do it. That and like, I don't like to support those guys because I know their practices of trying to stomp out craft beer and trying to masquerade as craft
Oh, no way.
beer. Oh yeah.
I
Dude,
thought-
I
AB
did not know that.
Anheuser-Busch bought. Now they just finally released a little bit of them so that we could start playing with them. But at one point they bought all of the African hops, South African hops. They bought all of them and they kept them for themselves and would not let anybody else use them just to keep people from using them.
What the
Yeah,
hell?
they're fucking bullies. That's
Oh,
what
they are,
do.
dude. They
Yeah,
are.
it's
They are.
ridiculous.
Sounds like they're
Absolutely.
scared, dude.
Yep.
What the hell?
Well, that's why they're buying up craft breweries left
Well,
and right
I-
too, man.
That's what I was about to tell you. I think Miller Lite bought Lagunitas or Budweiser bought Lagunitas.
I think it was
forget.
Miller.
It was Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just bought Lagunitas. I was like, okay, then I guess they're trying to expand. But I didn't know it's kind of like to like hold that from like buying their beers, which doesn't make sense. It would. I feel like you want to promote the craft beer more if you already bought that company.
Well, they promote their craft beer, but honestly, once one of those big companies buy that, like Lagunitas, they're technically not craft beer anymore. Like
Really?
the definition of craft beer, you've got to be under a certain production of barrels a year,
Okay.
and not be owned by one of
No
the big
way.
ones.
So if you're mass
Absolutely.
producing your beer, let's say you killed it at Desert Barn, you're like just mass producing, eventually you won't be a craft beer anymore?
Dude, man. I mean, we're talking millions of barrels a year before I'm craft. Okay, so Sam Adams, I think Sam Adams is still the biggest craft brewery in the country. I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong, but they were at one point. And I know they do several million barrels of beer a year.
okay.
I mean, like, dude, I mean, we're so far from that. It's like,
Okay. Yeah, because I'm saying like I feel like in the beer industry, Bud Light, Budweiser, you got Pepsi and Coke. It's kind of the same concept.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
they're trying to buy like Sprite, Fanta, and then it's kind of all linked
Right.
together. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, kind of. Yep.
Okay. Let's try that second beer.
Let's do this right here. Which one was this?
The second one was
Ooh, we don't know. Was it the Juice
No,
Monster?
it was the Juice Monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Juice Monster,
The
yeah.
Juice
I've had
Monster.
this one before, and it's so good.
I do. It's try that.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
You want some?
Yeah, I'll pour after you pour.
Alright, cool.
See now, like the difference between this beer and this beer for me is a lot of mouthfeel.
Okay.
This one is fuller, it's slicker. This one's got more hop character as well.
Pour it all the way. Sorry.
Okay.
A little bit more bitter too.
A little more bitter.
Which I'm good with the bitterness level actually that was in this one. I'm a fan of New England IPAs or hazy IPAs that are not bitter.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd prefer this one over the Cosmic Haze. I mean, I would.
Oh, over this one?
Over the Juice
Over
Monster,
the-
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
The Juice Monster over the Cosmic.
I feel like there's more flavor in this one.
Yeah. Oh, definitely more flavor.
That's
Yeah.
what I
Flavor.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one was more kind of like how you say it. Oh, dude, that's
Like the
Yeah,
first one was
that's
really
good.
easy drinking.
easy drinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was very
yeah,
easy.
kind of light, you know.
Exactly, I was gonna say light. Not that it wasn't flavorful. It was just like kind of like light.
I'm telling you that from a brewer's perspective, man, hops are expensive. I know why. Like sometimes beers are lighter in hop character than they should be. I think, and it all comes down
Hop
to
is
economics.
expensive.
Oh yeah.
Why is that? Because they know how the value of it is, or
Well, it depends on the variety of the hop. Certain hops are more valuable than others.
right.
Like Galaxy hops. I mean, you guys have had beers with Galaxy in them. That's like one of the most expensive hops you can buy.
wow.
What's it go
tip-
for?
Typically anywhere from like $29 to $30, or $29 to like $34 even a pound.
A pound.
A pound. And now when we're talking a pound, okay, so
How many pounds do you need to use?
exactly. So when we're talking about like a hazy IPA, you're gonna be anywhere, and this is just the dry hop portion. You're gonna be anywhere from like I'd say 2 to 8 pounds per barrel. Okay, now just to put it in perspective, Desert Barn, the system you guys saw, that's a 10-barrel system. So in the dry hop, we're gonna be anywhere from 20 to a lot more pounds.
Jesus, dude, you're talking about like maybe around 800 $800 in hops.
Oh yeah, it could get up there, especially if you're talking Galaxy and stuff like that. Now certain other ones are not as expensive. Galaxy, because it's a New Zealand hop,
That explains a lot.
it's more expensive. You know, I mean they
Yeah.
got to ship it over. You know, it
Yeah.
just is what it is. Now Citra,
Love Citra.
Citra's
Ooh,
fantastic,
love Citra.
and you can get Citra from anywhere from like
I think that one's Mosaic
16, 17 to I've seen it up
This
to
one?
like $24 a pound.
Okay.
So it's still expensive, but a lot cheaper. Whereas, like, you want to talk about things that aren't almost ever put in hazy IPAs, like, you know, Cascades or Magnum or like.
What is that? Other types of grains?
They're just different types of hops.
Oh, hops.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but they're not very well known anymore. Like those are classic hops, you know, but they're just not well known because they don't have that citrusy punch or, you know, that fruit flavor that you're looking for in some of these newer hops that are coming out. So.
Okay, interesting. Is there a certain place that you can go look for these type of hops where it's like it has a whole entire variety, or?
It's just gonna be different websites or like a local homebrew store. You know, we've got 2 homebrew stores up here actually. So we've got Bear Valley Hydroponics and Homebrewing.
Okay. They provide hops?
Yeah, dude, they've got actually a whole homebrew section there.
I thought they were just providing like the things you need to grow whatever type of like, you know, vegetation or, you know.
No, dude, they've got a whole like big section actually.
Holy crap!
Yeah, really good selection. And then there's just down the street from Desert Barn Brewery, there's Best Buds Brewing Supply. So a little bit smaller shop, you know, but they're cool dudes there too. So
dope.
You know, they got a good selection.
Yeah. Have you ever tried the El Segundo Citra?
Oh yeah. El Segundo makes some great beers, man. Dude, they make some great beers.
My cousin put me on them, dude. Oh my god, dude, they have really the El Segundo Citra and the Mayberry. I don't know if you have that one, dude.
I don't think I've had the Mayberry.
The Mayberry's delicious, dude. I gotta try that for you one day.
Is that a hazy?
No, I think it's just I think it might be the hops. This Mayberry, yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's delicious. It's similar to the Citra kind of, but I don't know. It's a lot of flavor in there. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
But you don't see too much of like El Segundo around. Up here it is. Like,
not up here anyway.
I have not seen it. Have you ever had Flying Dog?
Flying Dog, they're out of East Coast, right?
I'm not sure if they are or not.
I think they do. I think I have had them. Yeah, they make like Gonzo Porter, like they make Raging Bitch.
Have you ever had that one?
Yes.
Oh my god, amazing.
Yeah, they make good stuff, man.
Smooth. That's why I love that one, dude.
Woo!
They got strong beers too.
Yeah.
I want to try another one. It was like a double Flying Dog or a double Raging Bitch. Something like that. It was like 12%. I was gonna grab that one today. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just do this.
You're like, never mind. The double Raging Bitch is good though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really.
I haven't tried the double. I've tried the single.
Yeah, I have not tried that one, but this one's a really good beer.
The Brucifer?
No, the Brucifer, yeah, amazing.
Because you went. That's why I fucking.
Oh no, but he poured.
You put it in there.
Juice monster in there. He already finished his glass of juice for dude. You're slacking.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to catch it. I'm like, shit.
Hey, you don't gotta drive anywhere.
You're good.
Alright.
Dude, that what was it? The Black Sandstorm Stout?
Black Sandstorm, yeah.
Dude, that one fucking killed it for me. I was like, this is awesome. It tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
Wait, why did it taste like coffee again?
Because of the grains we used.
Oh,
so we used some roasted barley, and that's gonna give some nice coffee flavor. There's kiln coffee malt. I mean, there's all kinds of different roasted malts that we can use to get that flavor.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Did you try it?
Which one?
The Black Sandstorm Stout?
Yeah, I tried it from yours. It's really good. Yeah. I'm really a stout guy. Like usually for like the winter is when I drink my stouts. I was like, I like to fluctuate. If I'm drinking a stout, I want to stick with stout. That's why I don't go from like IPA to stout. I don't know if you ever had Clown Puncher's Undead Army.
Is that Clown Shoes?
Clown Shoes, yeah.
Clown Shoes Undead Army? I haven't had Undead Army.
That one is an Imperial Stout, dude. It's amazing. It is like 11 or 12%, dude, but it's so thick, sweet, like has a nice foam to it. Dude, it's delicious.
See, Clown Shoes hasn't been around for a little bit, man. Like,
really?
They were really popular for a while, a couple years ago, and I haven't seen them out much.
They're right here at the Brave.
Yeah, I see them, but they're not as like prevalent as they used to be, you know.
Oh,
I used to see new stuff all the time from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I know.
All right, guys. Dude, I fucking loved you having you here today.
I appreciate you.
I am excited to have you again.
I would love to come
I know
back.
We're running short on time today, dude.
That's my fault. I'm
no,
sorry,
dude, you're
man.
good.
My schedule was
You're
crazy
good
today, dude.
I just want to let you know, follow him at Desert Barn Brewery, and
check out Desert Barn Brewery.
Check out Desert Barn Brewery, dude. It's incredible for just to go chill, go to a party, go eat,
get some food in there.
Get some food, guys.
Support local businesses.
Support local businesses and try amazing beer. Drop that Budweiser shit, please.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. You know, try something different. And,
hey, even if it's not Desert Barn that you're drinking, drink craft beer, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, dude, he's like Gandalf with the fucking beer, dude. He's a fucking wizard. The
wizard.
He's a wizard.
I'm sorry, calling you the wizard.
Oh man, we gotta name beer that.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, dude, but that's for next time. I'll ask you how do you come up with your names for your beer? Cause I see you guys have a lot of interesting names. You know, it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Brucifer, or was it the bear? No, was the other one called the Brewster Baron?
Baron Bruiser.
Baron
Yeah,
Brewster.
yeah.
So I was like interested, like where do you get your name from? So it's pretty interesting. But
We'll save that discussion for next time.
exactly. We're gonna say for next.
Exactly, guys. Give him a follow. Go visit.
And ask him to go see the brew house. You know.
And
It's
if
fucking
you're
amazing, dude. We
coming in
loved it.
because you heard us on this podcast, mention it, please. I'd like to know. That'd be great.
Awesome,
Yep.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And later, guys.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Thanks, man.
Dude,
Fucking incredible, dude.
we had so much.
Honestly, dude, I feel like we could talk for hours with you.
Dude, that's why
that
I
was
was I was like,
Dude,
I know
yeah.
it's not.
Okay, so next time, dude, I'll make sure we have plenty of time because,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
dude, that was just too much fun right there, man.
Yeah.
That's a blast. I can sit here and talk all day, dude.
Dude,
We'll
definitely.
just start in the morning, guys.
Like 10 o'clock.
We'll just record the whole
Yeah,
day.
that's our drink
It'll
all
be
day
fine.
too, dude. Oh my god, dude. Thank you so much.
Oh man, dude, I'm so sorry.
Hey, dude,
I had to go
no,
so
you're
fast,
good.
man.
No, man.
I'm
don't
so
trip.
sorry, dude.
Yeah, you're totally fine.
Hopefully you got enough at least for some podcasts.
Oh, no, we got a
we
good amount of time.
we got a good
Okay,
amount.